Amelia dreams of rekindling love with her husband Daniel on a Maldives trip, but betrayal strikes when he invites his mother and sister along. Heartbroken, she takes control, moving money, cutting ties, and fleeing to Manchester, where Liam offers her a new life of freedom and love. Meanwhile, Daniel faces humiliation, rage from his family, and the crushing regret of losing the woman who once carried his world. Daniel put his arm around my shoulder. He pulled me close. We stood on our fancy London balcony. City lights twinkled below. They looked like diamonds on dark cloth. His warm breath touched my hair. A small hope grew in my heart. "You'll see, Amelia," he whispered. His voice was soft, full of promise. "This trip is just for us. No Mom, no Bethany. Just us two." Finally, he kissed my temple lightly. The kiss lit a fire inside me. A fire that had burned low for years. I smiled and closed my eyes. I held on to that moment. It had been so long. He promised a future for just us. No more burdens, no more duties, not my own. My life felt like a race, always trying to please Daniel's family. His mother, Martha, was strong but selfish. His sister, Bethany, was a freeloader. They saw our home and money as endless. I worked hard, from morning until night. I was a senior architect in London. I gave my all, not just for my job. I wanted them to live well. They took it for granted. They felt they deserved it. They gave nothing back. And Daniel, he just enjoyed it, as if it was his right. He was good at sweet talk. He promised a bright future. Romantic trips, a dream house. But his words were empty. They never came true. Still, I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to think our love was still there. Hidden by life's rush, by his family's demands, this vacation was vital. I dreamed of blue seas, sunny days, quiet time with my husband, to remember our old love, to recall our shared future. I got ready for the trip, step by step, like a special event. I looked for hotels, compared prices, read every review. I wanted it perfect, no mistakes. I found a good resort in the Maldives. I booked it right away. I used my own savings. Daniel nodded. He smiled. "You're smart, my dear Amelia," he said. His voice was proud, but I knew his pride was about not lifting a finger. Not spending a penny. "I'll ask for time off," I told him that night. We ate a quick dinner. I made it after work. My boss isn't happy. The project is busy, but he promised to sign it. He said I earned a break. Daniel hugged me, tighter this time. Like he wanted to calm my worries, to show my place in his life. "Of course, you earned it. You're the best woman I know." I felt warm, a strange, nice feeling, a new hope. Maybe things would change. Maybe this trip would start a new chapter, a brighter one, a chance to fix our old problems. I looked forward to the trip. I bought new swimsuits, light dresses, cool sunglasses. I made a list of places to see. I felt like I was planning a miracle, a new start for us, a chance for our love to burn again. But the magic did not last. 2 days before the trip, Daniel came home. He looked guilty. I knew that look. I could read it easily. I felt something was wrong. A cold shiver ran down my back. A bad sign. "What's wrong?" I asked. I tried to stay calm. My heart beat fast. Daniel looked down. He avoided my eyes. He rubbed his neck. He did that when he was worried, or about to say something bad. I hated that habit. "Amelia, something happened. Mom and Bethany are coming with us." I stayed quiet. I waited. A familiar cold feeling covered me. I knew what was coming. This story had happened too many times. I felt like an actor in a boring play. "Mom's health is not good," Daniel began. His voice got softer. He tried to avoid blame. "She complained about joint pain for weeks. The doctor said she needs sea air, to relax and get better." He stopped. He looked at me. Like I was to blame. "And Bethany? She still has no job. You know how sad she gets. She needs to relax. A change of air will help her." He stepped closer. He tried to take my hand, like he wanted to calm my anger. "I know we agreed, my love. I promised it would be just us, but you understand. They are my family. I can't leave them, can I?" My heart turned cold. An iceberg formed in my chest. It pressed down on my feelings. All my dreams, my hopes, my plans, they turned to dust, like a house of cards blown away. Nothing left. I looked at Daniel. I looked for regret, a little care, a hint of guilt. But I saw only his usual guilt, and he expected me to forgive him. He was used to it. I always forgave him. I always accepted his plans. I always gave up on him. "So, where should I go?" I asked softly. My voice was barely heard, but each word was heavy, like a stone on my chest. Daniel frowned. He looked confused. "What do you mean, Amelia? You can come with us, right?" "Come with you?" I laughed. A dry, bitter, sharp sound. "To do what? To not bother your family's fun?" "Where should I go to not disturb them? To the country house you told me to garden at? Or to my mom's house? I haven't seen her in months, because I was busy with your family. Or should I just stay home, work hard to pay for your fancy trip, while you and your family enjoy life?" My voice grew louder. It was full of anger. Each word was a knife. It cut into him. Daniel scowled. His face changed, from confused to annoyed, then angry. "Come on, Amelia, you're making too much of this. Don't be so dramatic. You can come with us." "Of course. But you know, the hotel only has 2 rooms. Mom and Bethany will have one. We will have the other. So, I see, I whispered. My voice was sharp, like a knife twisting in a wound. So, I pay for the trip. I pay for new swimsuits, the dresses I picked out. Then I sit there, watching you have fun with your mom and sister, while I pretend to enjoy the vacation I planned. Thank you. What a nice plan. I turned from Daniel. I didn't want him to see my tears. Tears of hurt, tears of pain. I didn't want to fight. No yelling, no arguing. I just felt something break inside me. Something important, fragile. Like a glass vase falling, shattering. Amelia, don't be mad. I didn't mean it. Daniel tried to hug me, but I pushed him away, hard. Like he was something dirty. Yes, of course, you didn't mean it, I mumbled. I walked out of the room. I left him alone in the empty living room, as usual. That evening, Daniel left for the country house. He said he would get it ready for me. I need to garden, plant potatoes, he said on the phone. His voice sounded important. Like a big task. My mother wants fresh potatoes from the garden. I nodded. I didn't argue. For the first time in years, I wasn't angry. I wasn't heartbroken. Instead, I felt calm, detached. Like I was watching a movie. Not my life, just a boring play. Alone in the empty apartment, I went to the window. I looked at the city at night. Lights twinkled, like tiny stars. An endless carpet of light. It stretched far. I felt lonely. A deep loneliness. But also free. Like a weight was gone. I remembered all the years. Years spent pleasing Daniel and his family. I gave up everything. Small dreams, big goals, just to make sure they had what they needed, and more. I worked until I was tired. I forgot my own dreams, my own wants. I forgot who I was. I became a part of Daniel, a faint shadow. No shape, no voice, just doing what he wanted. What did I get? No care. No respect. Constant use. Like I was just a tool. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. I felt the cold London air fill my lungs. It smelled of freedom. When I opened my eyes, I saw my reflection. A tired woman, dark circles under her eyes. But in them, I saw a new spark. A spark of determination. Of freedom. I had lived too long in the shadows of others. It was time to step into my own light, to live my own life. I turned my back to the window. A strange relief spread through me. I felt light. No heavy past, no sad memories, no false promises, no sweet lies. I was free, free to choose my path, free to live my dream life, a life without Daniel, without his family. That evening, I came back from the country house. I did not garden, no potatoes. I spent time thinking, planning. I acted with a cold focus, almost no feeling. Inside, I was set. But worried thoughts buzzed. Like bees, I pushed them away. I would not let them shake me. Now, I had to act. No time for doubt. No time for fear. I walked into Daniel's study. The room was usually messy. Papers, electronics. Tonight, it seemed to wait for me, like a stage. For the last act, his computer was on, a finance news site on the screen. I sat in his leather chair, took a deep breath. His scent was still there. I used to love it. Now, it made me sick. I opened an online banking app. The password? I remembered it perfectly. Daniel never changed it. He thought it was not needed. He trusted me blindly. Or maybe he was too proud, too sure I would not act against him. The screen showed numbers, money. Saved over our married years. Money I earned, with hard work, saved every penny, invest carefully. Daniel grew his business. It always needed more money, but it never made much profit. I remembered. He told me to take out my savings, to invest in vague plans. He promised huge returns. They never came. I began the operations. First, I moved all the money from our joint account to my personal account. I opened it years ago. When I first felt something was wrong, it was like insurance then, an emergency escape. Now, it was my ticket to a new life, a life I would decide for myself, no longer depending on anyone. Next, I blocked all joint cards, credit, debit. I linked them to fake phone numbers. Paul and his family could not use them. I knew this would cause a huge rage, a storm, but I did not care. I lived too long for others' comfort. It was time to think of myself, my future. Then, I changed passwords, all, in our shared accounts. Daniel's social media. I often managed them, posted for him, replied to messages, utility bills, electricity, water, gas, internet. Even our Netflix and Spotify. I changed the smart home password, the electronic door lock, the GPS in the car. I bought the car with my money, but Daniel used it. Everything connecting me to Daniel. And his family. It had to be cut. Like old rotten ropes, no longer tied. I even called my lawyer to change the apartment deed. It was my grandma's point, my inheritance. Now, it would be only in my name. I found out Daniel secretly mortgaged it for one of his failed businesses. This was a shock, a betrayal, unforgivable. Paul, of course, had registered his temporary residence there. Small details. I would fix them later. The most important thing was to take back control of my life, my assets, before he destroyed everything. When I finished with the money and legal stuff, a sudden tiredness hit me, like I ran a marathon. I wanted to collapse and fall asleep, to forget everything. But I knew I couldn't stop. I had to keep going, move forward, while I still had strength. And resolve. I opened my laptop. I looked for Liam in my contacts. We hadn't talked for a few years, since I married Daniel, but I remembered him. He was a reliable, kind person. He always supported me. Liam was there when I was sad. He listened. He told me to chase my dreams. Dreams Daniel always put down. Liam was different from Daniel. Thoughtful. Caring. He put others first. I hesitated, before writing to him. What to say? How to explain? I needed his help. After years of silence, after I picked Daniel over him, I took a deep breath, focused on the bright screen. I stayed calm. I typed the message. Liam, hi, how are you? Long time no see. I'm in a bit of a tough spot here. I don't know what to do. Remember you said there was a job for me in your city? Is that offer still good? His answer came almost instantly. Like he was waiting. Amelia, this is great. Of course, I remember. The offer is still 100% good. There's even a new job. It's a perfect fit for your experience. Tell me what happened, Amelia. How can I help you? I briefly described my situation, not too many details. I decided to leave Daniel. I needed a job and a place to stay. A new start, Liam replied right away, no hesitation. His voice was full of care and honest. Amelia, don't worry. Just come here. I'll take care of everything. I'll help you find a job. My company has an open spot. It's perfect for you. We'll find a place to stay. I have a small empty apartment. You can stay there. The most important thing is for you to come here. You'll be better off here. I'm sure. You deserve to be happy. A lump formed in my throat. Tears fell, not from sadness, from relief. And thanks. I never expected such quick and unconditional support. From someone I once abandoned. Thank you, Liam. You've saved me. You're an angel, I typed. Tears still streamed down my face. It's nothing, Amelia. You deserve to be happy. I always wanted to help you, Liam replied. A warmth spread in my heart, a warmth I hadn't felt in a very long time. I booked a ticket, the earliest flight, for tomorrow morning, to Manchester. I needed to leave fast, before Daniel came back, before he started to convince me, to beg, to trick me with sweet words and empty promises. I knew how good he was at that, and I didn't want to fall into that trap again. I packed my belongings into a small suitcase, only the essential things, a few simple clothes, my ID. The cash I took out. Everything else, I would buy later. That night, I barely slept. I jumped at every small sound, at every shadow outside the window. I was afraid Daniel would return. And my plans would fall apart. I would be trapped again. At dawn, the first light came through the curtains. I quietly walked out of the apartment. I tried not to wake the neighbors. I called a taxi. Went straight to Heathrow Airport. In the waiting room, I felt exhausted and empty, but also excited. I just wanted to close my eyes and fall asleep, but I knew I couldn't let my guard down. I had to wait until I was on the plane. And flying away? When my flight was called, a strange strength came to me. I stood up and walked to the gate. I took firm steps. I would not go back. The plane took off. I looked out the window. Below me was London. The city that was once my home, my old life. I felt a little sad, a little nostalgic, but also a huge relief. I was free. Meanwhile, in the Maldives, at a luxury resort, Daniel, Martha, and Bethany waited, excited for a free vacation. They faced a hard truth. Paul, smugly, handed his platinum credit card to the receptionist. He smiled. Hello, we have a room under the name Smith. The young woman at the desk swiped the card. A dry beep sounded. I'm sorry, sir, the card was declined. The smile on Paul's face froze. What? A mistake? Try again. He handed over another card. A debit card. Try this one. Beep. Another similar sound. Card declined again, sir. Confusion began to show on Paul's face. Other tourists behind him smirked. He mumbled, must be a mistake here. Panic grew in his heart. Martha, his mother, stood close. She frowned. Paul, what's wrong? What's taking so long? What the hell are you doing? Bethany, his sister, started to cry. She was used to getting what she wanted. Her voice was shrill. I'm hungry. I want to swim. Why is this taking so long? I hate you. What's wrong? Can't you fix it? Martha hissed. She pushed Paul's shoulder. What the hell are you doing? Can't you even handle a vacation for your mother and sister? Paul tried to calm her. But he failed. Mom, I'll figure it out. Maybe we went over the limit. Or there's a bank issue. He pulled out his phone. He dialed the bank. After a long, angry call, he was told all cards linked to the joint account were locked. Paul felt cold. This can't be happening. Maria would never. She couldn't do this to him. What's wrong? Martha asked, impatient. The cards. They don't work, he said. His voice was rough. He felt like the ground was sinking. Bethany cried louder. She rolled on the floor. I want to eat and swim. Why doesn't anything work? I hate you. I hate this place. Paul looked at his sister with disgust. He always saw her as a burden, a leech. Now she was worse. Shut up, he yelled at his sister. He never did that before. His voice was full of hate. Bethany went quiet out of fear. Her eyes were wide. She looked at him like he was crazy. The situation became serious. They had no money for the hotel, no money for food, not even for water. For the first time in his life, Paul felt helpless, completely. He was used to Maria fixing everything. She was his rock. She handled everything, and now she is gone. She left him in an unsolvable mess. Martha kept cursing Maria. She accused Paul of being weak. "You're useless. How could you let her do that? You must control her, keep her close. That girl is our cash cow," Paul snapped back. His voice was full of despair. "So what do you suggest? Tie her up and lock her away? What do you think I can do? Do you know what I've had to endure?" Martha was silent. But her eyes said a lot. She always saw Maria as her property, a source of comfort for the whole family. And now, that source was dry. There was nothing left. Paul knew he had to act fast. He started calling all his relatives and friends, begging for help, but most of them refused, or made excuses. After hours of humiliating conversations, he scraped together a small amount of money, enough to pay for one night in a cheap room, and buy a little food for his mother and sister. Bethany still complained. She demanded the water park, the luxuries she was used to. Martha continued to nag, blaming Paul for everything. She didn't see her own mistakes. He felt trapped, crushed by a duty he never wanted, a duty that should have been shared. The next morning, after a night with no sleep, Paul made a decision. He couldn't stay here any longer. He needed to go home, to fix everything. He called Maria again. She didn't answer. He sent a message, begging her to explain, begging for forgiveness. No reply. He gathered the rest of the money. Paul bought 3 tickets for the earliest flight back to London. Martha and Bethany were mad, but Paul was firm. "We're going home," he said. There was such a weariness in his voice. They didn't dare to object. They just followed him in silence. When Paul, Martha, and Bethany returned to London, the apartment was tense. The air was heavy. Martha, scowling, complained about my betrayal. She blamed Paul for not controlling his wife. Bethany whined about no money for shopping, no spa. It was like the world had ended. "I can't believe that girl did that," Martha hissed. She hit the dining table. Plates rattled. "She took everything. You must do something, Paul. Make her give the money back. She can't get away." Paul, with dark circles under his eyes and a tired look, held his head. His hair was messy. "Mom, I tried. She changed all the passwords, locked all the accounts. I can't do anything. I've lost everything. You're useless." Bethany chimed in. Her voice was full of scorn. It felt like a knife in his heart. "You can't do anything. You don't deserve a wife like Maria. I hate you." Paul jumped up. His eyes were red, from no sleep and anger. Veins bulged on his forehead. "Shut up, Bethany. Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused? You and Mom have bled Maria dry. Now she's gone. It's all your fault. You two ruined my life." Martha was stunned. She never saw Paul so angry. Her face was pale. "What are you saying? You dare to blame me? I raised you, put you through school, gave up everything for you, and now you say that? Everything I have is a broken marriage and an empty apartment," Paul roared. His voice was full of pain. The words he had held back poured out, unstoppable. "You and Bethany made Maria's life a living hell. She worked hard to feed this family. What about you two? You just enjoyed it and complained. You two took advantage of her." Martha stood up. Her face was flushed. Her hand trembled. She pointed at Paul. "How dare you? How dare you say that to me? Have you forgotten who gave you everything? What I did for you? Everything I have is a broken marriage and an empty apartment," Paul roared. His voice was full of hurt. "I lost everything because of you two. I lost Maria, the only woman who truly loved me, the only one who believed in me." Bethany started to sob, not from hunger or wanting to play. From fear of her brother's fury. She huddled in a corner. Martha backed away. She never thought Paul would say such cruel things. She felt a vague fear. Paul ran into his study. He slammed the door shut. The sound echoed in the empty apartment. He didn't want to see their faces anymore. He felt a terrible internal fight. On one hand, he was still mad at me for leaving, for taking the money. On the other hand, he began to realize he was wrong. He treated me badly. His mother and sister contributed to this. They pushed me away. He sat in the chair. His mind spun. Images of me and Liam flashed in his mind. He lost everything. No money, no wife, no one to rely on. He felt a big fear, a fear of an uncertain future. He didn't know what to do. Where to start? Paul drove his old Ford Focus into the driveway. He killed the engine. Silence. A bad kind of quiet. Not the peace I'd worked for. A heavy, dead silence. No warm smell of dinner. No sound of the television. Just this emptiness. He walked in, flipped a switch. The dim light showed a familiar scene. But now, it was wrong. My things were gone. My cashmere scarf, my magazines, all of it, just gone. He tried calling me. The phone just rang and rang. His stomach growled. He remembered some lonely pasta in the fridge. But he had no desire to cook it. He didn't want to do anything. He just sat on a stool, stared out on the gray London night. Memories flickered. Our first meeting, our wedding, my hopes for a family. He always put it off, said we had no money, unstable life. But the truth was, he was comfortable. Why change when everything is fine? Or, really, when he was fine? A memory of his mother's voice came to him. Paul, my son is great. You're so settled. Your Maria is a golden girl. She does everything for the family. For the family? His mom and sister? He remembered how tired I was after work. Still cooking for them, cleaning, laundry. What did he do? He came home, watched television, waiting for dinner. He went to the bedroom. The closet was almost empty of my clothes. The vanity table was bare, just his shaving kit left. A thought, cold and sharp, hit him. She's gone. But how? Why didn't he see it coming? Why didn't he feel her leaving? He grabbed his phone. I tried to log into our bank account. Failed. Wrong password. He tried a few more. No use. Then the utility bills. I always handled them. He tried to get in. Failed again. Passwords were changed. Panic. A cold sweat. No money. No food. No wife. He was alone. His phone rang. He grabbed it, hoping it was me. It was his sister, Chloe. Paul. Hi. Chloe. His voice was rough. Maria's gone. She took all the money. Chloe's face on the screen froze. What? Gone where? How? I don't know, he said, helpless. She locked everything. I can't do anything. So, Mom, does she know yet? You better tell her yourself, Chloe said. Her voice turned serious. The call with his mom was short and brutal. Eleanor cursed me. Called me names. I always knew that girl was trouble, she screamed. She was playing you for a fool. Mom, stop it. We have to do something. Do what? Eleanor screamed. Do what? You should have been working, not playing around. Now you fix it yourself. And she hung up. He sat down on the sofa, covered his face. He cried. Deep sobs. He was desperate, helpless. He saw it all. Everything he built on my back was gone. He remembered a picture, the one I took on our last trip. He opened my social media account. A new post. Me, on a beach, smiling. Beside me, Alex, his arm around my shoulder. The caption, working and breathing, new life in Manchester. The truth hit him, like a physical blow. I wasn't just gone. I was with another man. A man who saw my worth. He saw it all then. His delusion. He thought he was in control. That everything was fine. But he was just using me. My kindness. My help. And now I am gone forever. He had no one to blame but himself. He destroyed his marriage. He pushed me away. And now he has to live with regret. The emptiness. He stood up from the sofa. I looked out the window at the city lights. For the first time, he felt small. Lost. He didn't know what was next. But he knew one thing. His life would never be the same. He sighed. He walked away from the window. Tomorrow, he'll look for a job. He had to do something. Anything. Do not go mad. He lay on the sofa, covered himself with a blanket. Sleep didn't come. He thought of me, of Alex, of his mother, of his sister. He closed his eyes. I was smiling. That smile wasn't for him. And at that moment, he knew he'd lost more than a wife. He lost a friend, the person who loved him, believed in him, supported him. That was the most terrifying realization. He destroyed it himself. He opened his eyes. He looked up at the ceiling. He was afraid of the uncertainty, of loneliness, of his regret, but he knew he had to deal with it. He had to survive. He had to prove to himself and to me that he could change, and he will do it, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, in Manchester, my life had a new start. Alex had helped me find a great job at a graphic design company, right in my field, my passion. He also found me a nice small apartment. It had a balcony, overlooking a park. I could sit there, sip my coffee every morning, watch life go by. Every day, I woke up with relief and energy. I no longer had to worry about bills. I didn't have to listen to complaints or demands. I got to do what I loved, live in my own space, and be with someone who truly saw my worth. Alex was a wonderful man. He was not just a friend. He was a partner. He listened. He understood. He never demanded things, never used me. He was just there, support me, making me feel loved and worthy. I often walked along the coast. I breathed the fresh air. I watched the waves. Each time, I felt a deep peace. I found freedom. I found happiness. I found myself. I know the road ahead will have challenges, but I'm ready. I have grown. I am stronger, and I'm not afraid of anything. I have a new life, and I will live it to the fullest.